Uh, Continuing with the second part of our lecture on effects of air pollutants, uh, we will now study the effects of carbon monoxide on human beings. All the gaseous pollutants cause severe damage to respiratory system, but the adverse effects of carbon monoxide are somewhat unique in nature. Carbon monoxide, when inhaled, passes through the lungs and it diffuses directly into the blood, where it combines with the red blood corpuscles of hemoglobin, forming carboxyhemoglobin, as shown in the expression. HbO2 plus CO in a reversible reaction forms COHP plus oxygen. The affinity of carbon monoxide for hemoglobin is 210 times greater than that of oxygen. As a result, the amount of hemoglobin available for carrying oxygen for body tissues and lungs is considerably reduced. The body tissues are thus deprived of their oxygen supply, and death results by asphyxiation. Asphyxiation means lack of oxygen. In addition, the presence of carboxyhemoglobin in the blood retards the dissociation of remaining oxyhemoglobin, represented by HbO2. So, the tissues are further deprived of oxygen. The equilibrium level of carboxyhemoglobin may be estimated for concentration of carbon monoxide below 100 ppm in the inhaled air by using the equation percentage of carboxyhemoglobin in blood is equal to 0.16 ppm of carbon monoxide plus 0.5. The equilibrium levels are not established instantaneously, and it requires about 10 hours before the maximum level of carboxyhemoglobin in the blood is attained. The time span can decrease considerably with increase in physical activity. Uh, Following are the health effects of carboxyhemoglobin blood levels on individuals. When the level of carboxyhemoglobin is 1 to 2%, it affects the behavioral activities of individuals. When this level is from 2% to 5%, blood flow to vital organs increases to compensate for reduction in oxygen carrying capacity of blood. However, detrimental effects on central nervous system occurs with impaired time arrival. When the percentage of carboxyhemoglobin increases from 5 to 9%, visual light threshold is increased. Cardiac and pulmonary functional changes occurs, and patients with angina pectoris require less excretion to induce chest pain. When the percentage of carboxyhemoglobin increases from 10 between 10% to 20%, labored respiration takes place during exertion, and visual evoked response abnormal, headache occurs, reduced mental acuity occurs, and it may be lethal for patients with severe cardiovascular disease. When the percentage of carbon monoxide increases between 20% to 30%, result is headache, nausea, and visual impairment. When this percentage further increases to 30 to 40%, severe headache, nausea, and vomiting, dizziness, fatigue occurs. When this is further increased to 40 to 50%, slurring of speech occurs, and tendency to collapse increases. And finally, when this increases from 50% to 70%, result is convulsions and fatal coma if it is not treated. Carbon monoxide poisoning can be cured by exposing the affected person to fresh air, whereby the following reverse reaction occurs. Carboxyhemoglobin plus oxygen gives O2HP plus carbon monoxide. If you observe traffic policemen at a busy street crossing during heavy traffic rush hours, they are advised to use oxygen tanks in developed countries. Vitamin C is capable of preventing up to 50% of the damage caused to white blood corpuscles in smokers. Next oxide is the carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is non toxic and is utilized by green plants during photosynthesis. It allows sunlight to filter through it to the Earth's surface and maintains energy balance. Excess of carbon dioxide stays to the troposphere and prevents infrared radiations from escaping into the outer space by deflecting them back on the Earth, thereby causing greenhouse effect or global warming. The effects of carbon monoxide on plants are that at carbon monoxide at higher levels from 100 to 1000 ppm, it causes leaf curling, leaf drop, reduced leaf size, and it interferes with cellular respiration. Also, the nitrogen fixing ability of bacteria in clover roots is inhibited when they are exposed to carbon monoxide levels of 2000 ppm for 35 hours. Next comes the effects of hydrocarbons on human beings. At the concentrations usually found in urban air, hydrocarbons cause no adverse effects on human health. However, aliphatic hydrocarbons produce undesirable effects only at a concentration of 10 to the power 2 to 10 to the power 3 times higher than those usually found in air. Aromatic hydrocarbons are toxic and they cause irritation of the mucous membranes. Secondary pollutants such as peroxyacetyl nitrate and peroxybenzoyl nitrate, they irritate nose, throat, eyes and cause chest constriction. Hydrocarbons like benzene, toluene and benzopyrene at 600 to 1000 ppm produce edema, headache, drowsiness and other respiratory disorders. Cyclic hydrocarbons affect respiratory systems, nervous system, they dilate pupils of eyes, causes loss of coordination, affects DNA and cell growth. Higher levels of methane create narcotic effects on man. Peroxyacetyl nitrate cause synergistic effects. Effects of particulate matter on man. Before this, we will see the effect of hydrocarbons on plants. Hydrocarbons and photochemical oxidants are injurious to plants. Ethylene at 0.1 ppm for several hours cause epinasty, leaf abscission, flower dropping. Peroxyacetyl nitrate at a level of 0.01 to 0.05 for a few hours causes glazing or bronzing of underside of leaves, damages sensitive plants, necrosis of leaf tip. Grapes are particularly susceptible to attack. Now, let us see the effects of particulate matter on man. The toxic effects of particulates can be grouped into three categories. The first is the interference of inert particles with the clearing mechanisms of the respiratory tract. The effect includes a slowing of ciliary beat and mucus flow in the bronchial pathway. Aerosols less than 1 micron may reach the alveoli of lungs and damage lung tissues. Silicosis, the chronic disease of lungs, is caused by inhalation of dust containing free silica. Acrolein particles possess bronchoconstrictions. Particulates act as carriers of adsorbed toxic gases such as sulfur dioxide and produce synergistic effects. A summary of some observed relations between particulates and sulfur dioxide levels is shown in the following table. At different concentrations of sulfur dioxides level than particulates and what are their health effects. The third category of particulates is that particulate matter may be intrinsically toxic because of their physical and chemical characteristics. Now, particulates belong to metals which are usually found in atmosphere in trace quantities, but they constitute a great health hazard because of the possibility of the concentrations increasing beyond normal levels. That is more than 0.01% to 3% of all particulate air pollution. For example, lead is present in largest concentrations. Metals like cadmium, nickel, mercury, beryllium, vanadium, etc. cause widespread health hazards. Thank you.